Really good week of football. Let's talk about it.
Series.
It is Murray on the key, but Simon.
Series.
Turn on the afterburners. He's gone.
Series.
How's that?
Series.
I see you, bro. So, hey, my name is Keith. I do Black Quarterback Series. And this week, we got a lot to talk about. Like, teams lost that weren't supposed to lose. Teams going in different directions. Like, it's a lot here. But you got to know we got to start with the AFC North fight. The Steelers versus Pittsburgh. Now, we can say what we want to say about Baltimore, how Baltimore has essentially been dominated in this matchup. But to me, it's still a fight. I don't care if Pittsburgh wins the next 10. It's still a rivalry. They're still – it's not like none of these games are close. You know what I mean? It'd be different if there were blowouts. But both of these games are always close. And even in this game, it was, 3-0, 6-0 for the longest. So listen to the numbers and then we'll break all of this madness down. So Lamar Jackson, 16 for 33, 207 yards, a touchdown, and a absolutely ridiculous interception. I'm gonna put the interception on the video. Essentially, dude had his hand in between the ball and the defender, and as Hills was falling down, he just caught it with his elbow. Like one of the better plays you'll see all year. Wilson, 23 for 36, 205 yards and an interception. Huge interception that didn't amount to nothing because, as we get into it, Pittsburgh had an incredible defensive scheme. I'm talking about incredible. Like, you couldn't – every team's not going to be able to put out this type of defensive scheme. That's why when they get on TV Monday, it's coming out Wednesday, I'm recording Sunday night, when – they're going to come out and be like, oh, well, not Patrick Mahomes. Oh, well, Lamar Jackson couldn't get it done, da-da-da. No. I get what you guys are talking about. We won't get into the Lamar Jackson of it. But let's give a big shout-out to both defenses, honestly. Pittsburgh's defense played out of its mind for 4 quarters. Like, nobody else is putting that type of defensive effort towards that Baltimore offense. And Baltimore get back in Baltimore. But the big elephant in the room is Justin Tuck missing 2 critical, huge kicks. Just the 2 of the biggest kicks, not in his career, because he's kicked in Super Bowls, but 2 of the bigger kicks in the last 5 years. This makes almost winning the division almost not even possible. Now, we got to go and beat Pittsburgh. We'll probably split the matchup, but we got to beat Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson has played well against Pittsburgh. But it's like when we play Pittsburgh, people get the drops. So many penalties. Like 12. We had like 12 penalties today. It was absolutely ridiculous. But Tuck missed 2 critical kicks. One from the 50 and a 47-yarder. We have to start having conversations, and I've been saying this all year. We have to have conversations about looking for another kicker. We can blame the holder. We can blame the snapper. We can blame anybody that we want to. But at some point, we're going to have to start looking for another kicker because Justin Tuck is done. He missing 47-yarders and 50-yarders. He done. Justin Fields came in and with some really big runs that kind of like changed the tempo a lot. When Justin came in, I was like, oh, God, here we go, right? 2 big runs. He didn't do much outside of that. But he essentially iced the game. He slid a little early, but it really didn't matter in the grand scheme of things. The defense bend didn't break. If this defense would have played like this, against 3 of the teams we lost to, we would be sitting up there at 9-1, 8-2. Because the last 2 games, the defense gave it up, but they played out of their mind today. So hopefully they found something. They lost today, but hopefully they found their defensive identity, and this defensive effort can carry over. So, Pittsburgh side, like I said, Pittsburgh had an absolutely phenomenal defensive scheme to stop essentially everybody. So essentially stop everybody on Baltimore's offense. And while speaking of defense, I don't know Roquan's injury concerns right now, but it'll be on the screen. It'll definitely be on the screen by the time this video come out. We'll know what Roquan is dealing with. They took his helmet away. So that lets you know it's probably concussion or he had concussion-like symptoms, something like that. But we'll definitely run that back when I figure out what's wrong with Roquan. So, but this game was really lost at kicking. Pittsburgh made all their field goals. Baltimore didn't make none of their field goals. It's really as simple as that, honestly. So yeah, that's absolutely spectacular game. Spectacular game. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Baltimore's bounced back. The Chargers just won, so you're kind of behind the 8 ball in the wild card race. But the possibility to win the division is still in hand. But as a fan of Baltimore, I'm kind of looking at the wild card now to kind of see where we stack up there. And if we win enough games, we win enough games. But when we do, we got to do. So, blame. I'm going to give Lamar 20% of the blame. And you might think, Keith, why are you giving him 20% of the blame? He just says this. There were drives in certain of those where I say all the time, I didn't see all 22, so maybe the running lanes wasn't there. But from what I saw, the running lanes looked like they were there. And it looked like it was one of those Kansas City things where he just didn't want to run the ball and he wanted to prove he could pass. That's what it looked like to me. But obviously, I don't know the all 22. I don't know the coverage. Maybe there's a QB spy. There might have been a QB spy there. Who knows? But all in all, really, really good game. Typical AFC North matchup. Like, I enjoyed it. So while this was going on, I had to double there, and I was keeping my eye on the Bears and Packers game. Caleb Williams was 25 for 31, 231 yards, 9 carries, 70 yards. The best running I've seen Caleb Williams do in his whole career up to this point. Some of the best running. Like, he was running in lanes. He looked like Justin Fields. That's what he looked like running today. He looked like Justin Fields. And I can't really blame him when your offensive line. I saw them run a bootleg, and they thought that he wasn't going to get sacked. You run a bootleg with that offense? It's like, come on, like. You're asking to lose yards at that point. But they came this close to beating the Packers, and they just don't beat the Packers. They haven't beat the Packers since 2018. And said Caleb Williams was a sophomore in high school. I didn't even know they still made sophomores in high school at that point. but yeah, so really, really good game. This review will be more about the Bears and where they're going more than Jordan Love. Jordan Love was 13 for 17, 261 yards, touchdown, interception. Christian Watson had a hell of a day. 4 receptions, 150 yards, and he was spectacular. He was all over the tape when you watch it. It was a Christian Watson type day. So these are two teams going two different directions, or two different points in their rebuild. You got one team, the Bears, who are essentially trying to build winning habits and trying to figure out who they are as a football team. They want to be an offensive team, but they don't have the offensive line to do it. And then you have the Packers, who have their quarterback. They kind of know who they are already. They've been the same Packers for 50 years, right? And you see how the Bears trying to figure it out. So it was a good game all in all. Good game all in all. The Bears were this close. Who knew that they was going to get a field goal blocked? And they're 4-6, and they're actually firing their offensive coordinator or somebody on the offense that they fired this week. It looked like it kind of made a difference because it looked like the Bears were running a legit offense, at least for parts of it, at least for the parts of the game. But that last drive was all Caleb Williams. That last drive is what you want to see from Caleb Williams and what you expect from him on a regular basis. So I loved what I saw from Caleb Williams in that fourth quarter. Jordan Love's going to do Jordan Love things, and these two teams will be good in the future. So we're going to move on to the Kansas City Chiefs, and they finally losing. So before I left to go support BC, shout out to BC. I'll tell you more about them guys in a minute or later at the end. I put on my paper, KC has Bills' number, just thinking that the Bills were going to lose. They didn't lose. Mahomes didn't play with fire today, and they finally got burnt. They got burnt by Mahomes. They got burnt by Josh Allen. Mahomes was 25 for 33, 196 yards, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Not Mahomes' best day, and it looked like they had to have his best day to beat Buffalo because Buffalo came out there with a vengeance. Buffalo looked hungrier than the Chiefs in this game. They looked much, much hungrier, and that run by Josh Allen was absolutely spectacular. Like, shout out to the kid Gowie. He said something that I was thinking when I was watching the game. With Mahomes not playing well and with Lamar losing and not playing well, It's Josh Allen's MVP to lose. They've been trying to get Josh Allen the MVP the last 5 years. So this is his chance to get the MVP. If Josh Allen gets the 1 seed, there's nothing you can tell the media about giving Josh Allen MVP. It's like giving Nikola Jokic an MVP, a second MVP, and he'll have 4 MVPs, but he's nowhere near as good as the guys that have four MVPs in the NBA. But that's just my hot take on that. Kansas City, like I said, play with fire, got burnt. Kelsey didn't have a good game. Worthy had a good game though. It just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough to beat Buffalo. And I'm not gonna say Kansas City has questions, but they've lost now. Yay, we can laugh at their loss, but they're still the number 1 contender. And I'm not gonna put too much stock into them losing against the Bills because they've done this before. We've seen this movie. And so Anthony Richardson finally starting again after that weird saga of him getting benched and him coming back and then him saying he tired, like all of that stuff. So that doesn't change how I feel about him. He's still a very young guy. He reminds me of a dude that have you seen those videos where it's a bigger dude, but he's still young. It's like a 12-year-old. He's 6'2", but people think he's like 25, but he's just a big 12-year-old. That's kind of what I think about Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is a very young guy, expected to do very mature things yet. And this game proved to me that he can be that, and there's flashes in there. He looked like Cam Newton today. What we expected him to look like, Cam Newton. But again, he's playing the Jets. He was 20 for 30, 272 yards and a touchdown. Now, that's not impressive, but for Anthony, it's very impressive because normally these games are like 12 for 30 or 9 for 30 type thing. You know what I mean? So, impressive. You got the win. You're supposed to. But that middle between the second and third quarter, you went up 14 or you went up 13 and then fell completely off the map only to get it back in the fourth quarter. If we don't have that middle, the Jets would have got blown out. I don't know what happened with what happened with the Colts in the middle of the game where they just couldn't figure nothing out. But I think they threw it a little too much in that point, and that was Aaron Rodgers was able to get back in the game. But they did some good things. Everything they did today, they need to just try to replicate. And so our last game, if you don't see, if you're looking for the Monday night game, it'll be at the end card. I did a breakout video about that. So, Geno Smith, 25 for 32, 220 yards, and a terrible interception. Like, it's an awful interception. I don't know what Geno was looking at. So, let's talk about, as we talk about Seattle, and I feel like I'm always talking about something else when I'm supposed to talk about Seattle. The AFC North. So, Future Keys is going to put the AFC North, or the NFC West. I'm going to put the NFC West up here. It is super close. So they still have an opportunity to win the NFC West. With the Rams being bad, the 49ers being average, and the Cardinals, I'm not going to say they're fake contenders, but with the Cardinals being vulnerable. Because nobody really believes in the Cardinals like that. So with all the craziness that's going on in their division, they actually have a chance. And when Geno is going to lead game-winning drives like this, they actually have a chance. Have a really, really, really good chance to win. I don't really have anything negative to say about them. It's just Geno is so hot and cold. He's just so up and down. He's like kind of like Anthony Richardson, just not as terrible. Where you're like, oh my God, and then you're like, oh my God, you know. So more power to Geno. Geno is he's just a pro's pro now. I remember when he first came out, he was not this mature. So that's really all I have to say about Seattle. I don't have no sweeping declarations about Seattle. I thought Seattle was dead in the water, but you look at the division, they 5-5. The Cardinals are 6-4. They win 2 games. They back in the NFC West race. So yeah, really, really good week of football. Excellent week of football. I really enjoyed it. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow if the Thursday night game is close. Peace.
Kids. Kids.
And he throws in the end zone. Touchdown.
Series.
It is Murray on the key, but Simon. Lamar.
Series.
Turn on the afterburners. He's gone.
Series. Series.
I see you, bro.